What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you can tell, Manchester United played if you weren't already watching.
Facts.
This was another preseason game
True.
against Leeds United.
Second to last preseason
Yep,
game.
second to last preseason game. And yeah, they ended with a 1-1 tie, went into pens, and United came out with the win. So
Facts.
let's
Yeah.
get right into it, Millie.
Yeah. A little more of that preseason silverware, the second
Yeah.
trophy that United have lifted this preseason, which is always good to see. So they can go ahead and get into the habit of what it's going to take and what it's like to win those trophies and lift those trophies.
Yes.
So already getting in the habit here in preseason. So
we love to see
that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think this was another kind of excuse me.
You're good.
I thought overall it was a really solid Manchester United performance. Like, we know the Premier League, it's a very tight competition. We know that a lot of games are going to be very close, 1-0, 2-1, those sorts of matches. And this was exactly that type of game, playing against Premier League competition, kind of giving the lads a little bit of taste of what the next couple of weeks are going to be like. Hull City is the first game of the season and it's right around the corner.
Who?
So Hull City.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, so playing against a Premier League opponent was a good way to kind of test the fitness and test where we were kind of landing in against Premier League competition. So overall, I think it was a very solid performance from United.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a great point. Going Premier League versus Premier League team. So It was very much maybe a more evenly matched game, would you say? Or
I mean, obviously PSG, we know from the last match, we know that they're, the European champions. We know that they're really good competition, but definitely the Premier League has a little bit of like athleticism and grittiness that kind of come into the games a little bit more than like the Champions League matches. They're a little bit different. Like, Premier League games are very athletic and very like contested in a lot of areas in the pitch. Not that Champions League games aren't as exciting or anything like that, because that's obviously not what I'm saying. Just the Premier League has a level of intensity to it. Let's just say that.
Yes.
And I mean, that is kind of why fans love the Premier League, why the Premier League is redeemed as the most watched and most enjoyed league in top rank football, is largely because of the fact that every single team in the Premier League can compete. It's not like Germany or France where you've got one or two teams that run the show every season, or like Spain. In England, there's like 6 teams that are always in the running.
That's
but
true.
Then you also have up to 10 teams that are always competing for top spots in the top 10. So so that's kind of why the Premier League is just a little bit different. It's a very highly contested league. And so, playing against Premier League teams in preseason is massively important. So I'm really glad we did that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's such a great point. And just a couple of things outside of the match. We had Lemons back today, as well as Cunha also started today. First game back into
came off the bench, but
came off the bench. Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. He was back.
Yes, he was back. And you also had said that Lemons changed his number to the number 1, which is a very like goalkeeper specific.
Facts. And he is the number 1, right? He's been our number 1 for a while. He's been our starting goalkeeper, our star guy. He had an instrumental key save today, just picking back up right where he left off as being our number 1 goalkeeper option. But also not just that, a great shot stopper, great in the air, great with crosses. Lemons is our guy.
Yeah.
And I love that Me had a great performance in the second half and in the penalty shootout as well. Because again, that's a young player, a young goalkeeper that we know could potentially already be a decent, backup for, Lemons, worst comes to worst. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And he had a key save in the penalties. I think you might have said that, but
Me.
He had a key save in the penalties, because had he not saved that,
would have been different. But Lemons had one in the run of play with his feet. That was such a good save at the start of the second half. When Leeds had gotten around that left side a couple of times. So Lemon's also, just picking right back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad he shifted his jersey number. I'm glad he got the number 1. He deserves it.
Definitely.
He's a key guy, and I think he's going to have a big season for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go get that golden glove, boy.
We love to see that. We absolutely love to see that. So yeah, great to see Lemons back out there.
Facts.
And then who else had their first game back today? Even like just generally, we
first game back today. I believe really the ones were just the key ones you mentioned.
Okay.
Lemons getting back, Cunha showing up in the second half. Those were like the key guys. We did see some key United players introduced back into training. So we know Kopi Mainoo's back. He wasn't rostered today, but he was at the pitch. Same with Marcus Rashford, phenomenal left wing talent. We know he's going to be instrumental for us. So great to see him back in training. He was another one who didn't feature today just because it was their first week back, but great to see him back with the squad. Martinez is back. He got training, so he was another one who wasn't rostered but was also out there. Same with Mathis de Ligt, also working his way back into fitness and back with the group, so great to see that as well. I'm trying to think of who else. The 2 that didn't feature today that we've been seeing a lot of during preseason were Maguire and Shea Lacey.
That's right.
So both of them were rested because, as we know, they played 90 minutes in our last match against Paris Saint-Germain. So it made sense to rest Maguire, to rest Shea Lacey coming off of playing 90 minutes. So that's kind of what we saw. So we're kind of back to full strength. We've seen everybody who was out come back. Everybody who was, obviously Ugarte is injured. Mason Mount is now sidelined as well with injury. But of our healthy players, everyone is back from vacation. Everyone is back in training camp. And it's just very exciting. I think, having a full force squad for the next match and going into the season, it's just very exciting. Exciting. Yeah. So really good to see.
Yes, absolutely. Really good to see. And another one I just thought about, Sheshko. What's going on with him? Have you heard any updates?
Sheshko's been back in training too.
Okay,
nice. I knew I was forgetting someone. Sheshko has been back. So he is also someone who's looking like he'll probably be fit by the start of the Premier League. So really, really great for him. So excited to see that.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the outside of the game things
facts,
that I wanted to cover right before we got fully into the game. So thank you for your insight on all of that.
Of course.
And so do you want to start with the first half, or I know it was a little bit slow as
in the second half? The first half. Let's get into the first half a little bit. So we saw a pretty solid starting 11 go forth, but also we kind of noted that Carrick was also acknowledging some of those strong performances throughout preseason. So we saw Tyler Fletcher get a start, which was pretty cool to see. We saw Harry Amos get a start at left back, which was great to see. And then we got Lenny Euro and Aiden Heaven as our center back combo. As we know, Maguire was rested. So that was really great. And of course, as you mentioned, Lemons was back and started in goal for us. Our midfield, we had our brilliant André Santos. He was partnered with Fletcher in the midfield as kind of the pivot, but we know Santos is more of like the 6, more of the defensive midfielder.
Yes. Can you explain pivot to those of us who...
Well, typically if you have 2 midfielders that maybe it's not as quite defined which one is the 6 because you want them to be kind of interchanging and fluid, you would call them like a pivot. So essentially both of them are doing the role of the 6 and the 8. So they, depending on what side of the field, whatever their triggers may be for who goes and who stays, but they're interchangeable. So at some points in the first half, we saw Santos a little higher up the field and kind of getting in the mix into the attack. But at other parts of the half, we saw Fletcher a little higher up the field and Santos a little deeper. And then as well as in possession as well, when they're playing like the pivot, at times we'll see the center mids combine with each other because they might be in not necessarily the same line, but they might be close enough to each other where they might combine a little bit. So they're kind of interchangeable. And so this is like the pivot action. One goes, one stays, one goes, one stays. But they share that responsibility so that one of them, when the time allows, can be released to join the attack.
Got it. Okay. We'll go over that in the tactical board a little bit more
in
later.
A little bit. So that's typically how you'll play if you don't have like a designated 6 that's going to sit every single time. So fine, it can still work really well. well. So
okay, great.
And
so that was the midfield.
Yeah, so that was the midfield, and then of course we saw Ahmad in his position.
Yeah,
might as well call it the Ahmad position in right mid, or whatever you want to call it, right forward, whatever, right winger. Ahmad
he
was
was
out
up
there.
there on the right.
Yeah. We saw Xerxes in the 10, Brian Mbembo up top as our number 9, and on the left we saw Patrick Dorgu once again. So that was kind of how United started the game. And yeah, it was a pretty solid lineup. I think, good for Fletcher to get the start. He has played well throughout preseason. Good for Harry Amas to get the start as well, because he also has been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like we saw a lot of really good, collaboration between Mbeumo and Xerxes today as well. I know we'll get more into the star players and as we go into the half.
No, but I'm glad you brought that up, because something that I wanted to note is the intricate play with United. When United started taking over the game around the 10th minute mark, you could see the ideas that were in play. The intricacies in the passing, the playing in the tight spaces, the ability to switch the point of the attack when it's not on, the patience in the build-up to recognize that it wasn't worth first forcing a pass, but worth switching the point of the attack or playing to someone else. Like, it was just brilliant. Like, it was just so good. And yeah, Mbembo, Xerxes, their combination play was unbelievable. They're going to be such key players this season. Brian Mbembo especially, goal. He didn't score today, but got the assist, created the goal that we did score, and hit the crossbar as well. The goals are coming for Brian.
Yes.
I genuinely think Brian could really possibly go ahead and grab the top goal scorer for United this season.
Okay.
I feel like it's in his locker. As soon as he continues to lean into that selfishness, that hunger to score the goals himself, I think it's going to just open up more opportunities for him. Because here's the thing. If a defender is afraid that Brian Mbembo is going to shoot, right, he is naturally going to put closer pressure on Brian. That is going to open up another player that Brian can now slip for a pass to finish easier. So that is what we want to see with our players. We want to see that fluidity. We want to see those different dynamics where we don't know whether you're going to pass or shoot, and neither does the defender, and that is brilliant.
Yes.
Ahmad does such a great job of that. He went and tried to have a couple shots today, which was really cool to see. So yeah, I think that fluidity from the 10th minute on for throughout the half was really, really solid.
Yeah.
So that was the attacking
Absolutely.
side.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. They were looking so good today. I feel like we just saw so much movement between them, between Ahmad with everyone up top.
Dorgu, a lot of fluidity coming in off the left, dribbling inside, ending up in the middle, ending up on the right side sometimes. Dorgu's pace obviously is what helped lead to the goal. He was able to bring down Harry Amas's header and, with composure, with 2 defenders on his back, take a burst of pace and play the ball up the line to Brian. So again, really brilliant work from Dorgu there to kind of create that opportunity for United.
Yes.
I think that fluidity, that switching we were seeing, we saw Brian dropping into the midfield, receiving passes from Euro, receiving passes from Santos, doing a great job of playing as that false 9. And then Xerxes was doing a great job of stretching our lines, making those runs in behind, allowing for us to play those slit passes into those channels. And Xerxes was, at those times, our highest guy in creating issues for the defense in that way. So again, just highlighting that fluidity, the switching, the recognition from the players to know what the game is asking for in those moments, knowing when they should switch, when they should stretch, when they should show underneath. It's just all of these elements are just gelling so well together, especially in the first half. And I think, Carrick will be really, really happy with that overall performance.
Okay,
great. And then another thing I want to note, because it's very important to note, is the defensive side of the game as well. Because United's defensive shape is so solid. It is very difficult to break United down when they're in their proper defensive shape. I mean, yes, we gave up a goal. Yes, there were a couple opportunities in the second half, but we know that's going to happen, right? You're never going to fully prevent every opportunity from happening. That's just not the reality we live in. I mean, come on, every team gives up chances.
I mean, yeah, it'd be absolutely impossible for you to just never give up a singular chance.
Yeah, I mean, if that was the case, we could set Lemons up with a book and just a book in a chair and have him hang out there. But that's not the case. So we know that chances are going to happen, but the point is you limit those chances and make sure they're not full on big chances. You limit them to half chances, such as that. So the goal that Leeds did score, it came off of a little bit of a error from the midfield. Obviously, Fletcher being a young player, it was just one of those young moments. That's really all it was. It wasn't quite what the game was asking for.
Gotcha.
When a fast player is storming down on you, you got to be a little bit more safety first in that moment. And that's what was needed, just to put your foot through it, clear it, F it, whatever.
Get it out
or
there.
Get your body in front of it, actually take that first touch. Doing either of those things would have made the difference for Fletcher there. But inevitably, he knows that. I mean, Carrick's going to talk to him about that and let him know in the midfield, especially in certain positions, you can't necessarily let the ball run across your body. Just a little bit of a youth era. I don't really chalk that up to anything. We had some moments after Dan James won the ball back where we maybe could have put a play on it, but it just happened so quick. So a little bit unlucky from Fletcher, but it was Leeds did a good job of capitalizing on that mistake. In United, obviously, we know that those sorts of errors can't happen. Right? Like, that's just the reality. They just can't happen. You can't make mistakes when you're the deepest midfielder. It can't happen. So we know that. I think that was more of like an obvious thing. That wasn't like a systematic thing that happened, right? It wasn't like they broke us down and played through us and we weren't getting pressure on the ball. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a straight up error that led to a goal, and that's okay. It happens. It happens.
No, that's true.
So, Fletcher's got to keep his head up and just move on from it. It is what it is. It's preseason, right? Get it out now.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's very true. It's the best time to do it.
Exactly. And again, United had opportunities to win the game. In the second half, once we saw our star power come in at the 60th minute mark, we saw Tielemans, we saw Bruno, we saw Cunha, we saw those sorts of guys get injected into the game. I know we made some halftime substitutions as well. We brought on Thompson, we brought on Collier in the midfield, and then we brought on Armour at center back, Harry Maguire. Also, while we're on the topic of Armour being a mimic of Harry Maguire, can we also talk about how Fletcher runs and maneuvers just like McTominay? I can't be the only United fan that is seeing this. I know you're seeing it. It's like I'm seeing McTominay. It doesn't help that he has the same number, but it's like the way he runs, the way he maneuvers on the pitch. I feel like I'm seeing McTominay. It's so weird because Armour does the same thing with Maguire. I feel like I'm seeing Maguire. I'm like, Harry? No, it's Armour.
Now we just need those clutch McTominay goals in the last
facts. Yeah, that would be so that would be nice. We do miss those. We need that injected. But I do feel like we have those sorts of players now in our locker. I know we've got Manu. Manu scored so many late goals for us. Brian's capable of game-changing moments. Cunha, we know, is a clutch player. Tielemans, he just had a massively clutch penalty for the Netherlands to send them through the next round in the World Cup. So we know he's great with high pressure situations. So and we know our captain, Bruno, fantastic.
Of course.
Don't even need a further explanation.
I know,
it's Bruno.
It's Bruno.
It's
you
Bruno.
get it. You know. It's Bruno.
It's Bruno, Muito obrigado, Bruno. Basically we know what our squad is capable of. We have so many players that are capable of changing the game. And when Bruno came on, he scored a goal, he hit the crossbar. The penalty, we scratched that. He's got to get the miss out now. He's got to get it out now. He did it now so that he won't miss any in the Premier League.
Exactly.
That was the point, getting it out of his system.
And he knew that. He was laughing on the way. He was high-fiving everyone.
Bruno was smiling like this after
laughing. I mean, he knew.
So I think the offsides goal they called back. It was inches, very, very, very close. And that would have been a brilliant goal. First time on his weak foot. I mean, unbelievable. And then the one that hit the crossbar, again, another brilliant chance for Bruno, just super unlucky. So again, we know Brian hit the crossbar. Ahmad had some shots. Dallo had a shot that was saved. So we have a lot of players that can challenge teams, challenge defenders,
Definitely.
and score goals. And I think that that's really, really special about this group. In Carrick, you can see he's giving the players not only the confidence, but the freedom to play in that way, to attack, to have those shots, to go at players, to dribble at players. And that's what I feel like we've been missing in the past. So I'm really glad that we're seeing Carrick bring back that attacking prowess to United.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go for it. Okay, so I guess I have a question about, like, I definitely can see the vision. I can see they're looking great. I can see all of that. I'm really excited. Do you have any, like, constructive feedback, I guess, or just like constructive thoughts in terms of even like any sort of the formation or players together or anything like that you've noticed that you're like, I feel like I would change this or anything like that?
I don't know anything I would change off top, but I know, at the start of the second half, there were a few instances where we were getting played around on that left side where they were able to get in behind Harry and Moss and get those crosses in. A little of that comes from not having pressure on the ball. So if you don't have pressure on the ball, that allows that time and space to whip those, balls in behind. That can be hurtful for United. Because again, that save that Lemons had came off of one driven ball over the top and a one-touch cross. So 3 passes almost hurt us. So that isn't good enough, right? So it starts with the pressure on the ball, making sure that no one can hit free service in behind us. But also, when runners are making runs, you have to be aware of where they are. You've got to be tracking those runners. If they're coming from a wide position and making a run inside, you've got to track that run or pass that runner on. Or if he's running behind and the guy has already picked his head or put his head back down, you got to just take off running, right? There are those little anticipatory moments that we are a little bit slow on, and there are cues that you can pick up on. So we know if a football player picks their heads up, scans the field, and puts their head back down, they're pinging a long ball on your head top. That is a classic football give sign. It's a sign because that is how you're scanning, fixing your pass, and then you're looking down, preparing to make contact. So we've got to look for those cues. When is the right time to put that pressure on? And if we are going to drop off and allow them to hit that ball, let's make sure we're in a deep enough shape where there isn't space in behind us for that ball to land. So there's just a little bit of that recognition. Again, Luke Shaw wasn't on the pitch at the moment. I think Luke would have been fine with his positioning because he typically is. And we know Luke Shaw's a serious athlete as well. So I can't really imagine too many people getting in behind Luke Shaw. But yeah, I think that's something to recognize. When are those moments when we need to drop off immediately, or when are those moments when we can push the line and make sure they can't hurt us with a ball like that? So that would just be like those in-game moments. I think we also went through a little bit of a lull in the second half. There was a good 20-25 minutes where we weren't really in control of the game. And we weren't really allowing any danger on us either. But it was a little bit of a lull, and I think that those moments in games are massively important, right? You honestly want to try and hurt a team during a lull in the game, but you don't, we were honestly the team that looked kind of second best during that lull in the game. And so, how can we manage moments like that, maintain our shape, make sure we don't get hurt, but also how can we get ourselves out of that lull a little bit quicker? Because for that 20-minute span, we weren't really creating much. We couldn't really get Cunha on the ball. We couldn't really get him in dangerous positions. We weren't really finding Bruno in positions where he could hit those slip passes. So again, Premier League teams, they know who our star guys are. They are going to know that they have to watch Bruno. They're going to know they have to watch Brian Mbembo. They're going to always keep an eye on Cunha. So in those moments in games when those players are marked or man-marked or being clogged up, we've got to find other creative solutions. So I think that will be, a little bit of a challenge in the Premier League that we have to be cognizant of. When a team sits back in a low block and they aren't pressing us and aren't allowing us those spaces to attack, how will we break them down and prevent that lull from lasting too long?
I think that's a great point. I mean, that was definitely something we both felt while we were watching. We're like,
have me over here like this. I was like, dang.
Sinking deeper and deeper into the chair.
It was a little bit, but again, like United didn't get hurt during that time period.
Right.
And then immediately afterwards, United took back over the game, picked up the pace and started creating again. And that was when we saw Bruno have the chance and then the second chance. So, we took back over control, but yeah, we just want to be careful in those moments. But again, I don't think it's like a tactical note or anything. It was just kind of what the game was giving as well,
That's fair.
Also, Leeds also made 10 substitutions at halftime and brought on more of their key guys as well. And so I think that also had a factor in the game too. There wasn't as many spaces with some of their key guys kind of closing down quickly and knowing who to mark and having that extra pace up top. A little bit of those added players, United had to key in on that. Yes. So we also had to adjust the maybe way we were approaching the game to make sure we weren't giving them anything soft either.
Okay, valid. Yeah. So it's not necessarily like any sort of systemic issues that you're noticing. It's more so just like situational and like potentially certain players who need to maybe recognize things a little
and a lot
better,
of that,
and obviously that might just come with experience.
Definitely it will come with experience, but also when we have our full starting 11, right? When Maguire is back there and he's calling shots from the back, and Bruno has played the entire match and is really in tune with the flow of the game, like those guys are going to lead on the field and also be calling the shots on the field to make sure that the team is tuned in for the whole 90 minutes. So I think part of that disjointedness was simply just because for part of it, Bruno wasn't even on the field, right? And Maguire wasn't even there today. So we didn't have some of those kind of like core guys that really set the momentum, set the pace for United. And I think that's kind of why we saw that lull happen. But as I think that's kind of why Bruno got subbed on, right? He kind of helped bring us out of that lull period.
Yes, because I think on that specific point, it's like you're missing that creative player out there who can bring the edge to the game, who can like pull the team out of the lull and out of that like kind of sleepy period.
100%. So I think like Bruno does that naturally. He's a great leader, so he'll be doing that in the next match. Maguire will be doing that when he's back. So those guys being on the field as well is going to help the squad a bunch. So, and that's kind of the interesting thing too with this whole preseason. We haven't really seen a core starting 11 actually start and play together yet. So it will be very interesting to see what Carrick does in our last preseason match against AC Milan, because this would be a great opportunity to give us kind of a test 11 to see what the test 11 looks like. And then maybe around 60 minutes, bring on, all of our potential key substitution players. That's kind of what I would expect, especially just because it's the last preseason match. You really want to get that fitness for peak for players like Bruno, for players like Tielemans. You want to get Mainu some minutes. You want to get Rashford some minutes. So, those sorts of things we definitely want to see in the next game because, again, preseason flew by. I mean, only one game left, if you can believe it.
I honestly can't. It really did fly by. Because do you know when the first actual Premier League game is? Or around?
I know we're playing Hull City. I know we play Saturday, probably like this coming Saturday. Maybe next Saturday is probably the Community Shield, if I had to guess. That's usually what kicks off the Premier League, and then the actual Prem will start like the following week. So we'll. I don't. So I don't know the exact dates, but I know as soon as the Community Shield, because I mean today was the Europa, like the Super Cup for again for PSG versus Aston Villa. So with that being said, we know that the Premier League is right around the corner. We're already mid August. So.
I know. Oh my god.
It's crazy.
Don't even say that.
It's
crazy. This year has been flying by.
For real,
anyway, side note.
But overall, Manchester United was definitely the better team in the game. I think we've seen more progression in the way Carrick wants to play. I think the lads are definitely in tune with the style of football that Carrick is instituting. And I think it's really exciting. I mean, we're seeing so many combinations from so many players, whether it's Santos with his passes through the lines. We're seeing our center backs having confidence to clip, those long diagonals to jumpstart our attack. We've seen Tielemans, we've seen Bruno, we've seen Ahmad. We've seen so many positive actions from Brian and Membo and Xerxes. It's just been a fantastic preseason. And I think it's all culminating brilliantly for the actual season that's coming up here shortly. The lads have been tested. They've gotten good fitness. The games have been tight. And that's really what you want to see. I think overall preseason has been massively successful for you.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've seen so much from them. We've really gotten such a good taste of what the season is potentially going to look like under Carrick as the manager.
Yeah.
So I think that's been really exciting. It's been super fun watching them play.
Yeah. It has.
So I'm really excited about what they're about to be doing in the actual season. I know there's one more preseason game left, so maybe we're jumping ahead a little bit thinking about this. But no, I'm really excited based on what we've seen so far.
True.
And I'm alexcited just to get into the real season.
I know, dying for it. We're ready. We're ready.
I know.
So good to see, the Reds, another preseason game. They got the tie and then they got the win in penalties. So again, just good muscle memory for the season ahead. Overall, I think it was a good result for United. So those were our thoughts on Manchester United's preseason game against Leeds United, gearing up for the Premier League. Another preseason silverware for Manchester United. So love to see it.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
So if you made it this far, up the Reds.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.